Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Today I wanted to share with you some legislation updates on different bills that are introduced and at different various levels of the process. I'm going to read to you what it is, maybe a little snapshot of what that bill entails and where it currently sits as far as the process is concerned with regard to its current status. Again, just a high-level overview for you so you can know what's happening, what's still in process. This is not an exhaustive list. This is just a few pieces of legislation that I wanted to share the information on with you. So, jumping into it, this is the 118th Congress Veteran Bills. Okay, so priority bills. Here, some of them anyway, is the Major Richard Starr Act. Many of you have asked and have talked about this specific piece of legislation. This is a great piece of legislation, I believe. It says here is the little kind of bullet pointed little paragraph here is the Major Richard Starr Act would provide both disability compensation and retirement pay simultaneously for retirees with fewer than 20 years of service and combat-related disability. So that's a great one. That has been introduced in both the House and the Senate, so it's on both sides. It's got sister legislation, right? So it's running both tracks there. One is the Senate Bill 344, and two is H.R. For the House of Representatives, 1282. 1282. So if you are for this legislation, you should probably call your congressional members on the Senate and House side and let them know that you, as a veteran or a spouse or a dependent or anybody, as a constituent of that elected official, let them know that you support Senate Bill 344 or House of Representatives Bill 1282. The next one is the Not Just a Number Act. This was introduced in the House and passed the House. It is introduced in, or no, this one's introduced in the Senate, Introduced in the Senate, and that's where it currently sits. And it's the little blurb here is the Not Just a Number Act would require VA to examine veterans' health care and benefits usage in the department's annual suicide prevention report. So you can read more about it. The Senate bill is Senate 928. And if that's something that you are for, you can let your senator know that you support this. So again, it's the Not Just a Number Act. It was introduced in the Senate on 3/22/23. So March 22nd, 2023 is when it was introduced on the Senate side. Next one here is the VA Careers Act. That was introduced in the Senate, and the VA Careers Act would bolster VA resources for recruitment and retention of clinicians, and particularly those in rural areas. So I think that we all, at least if you've used the VA, know that clinicians seem to be an issue. They don't have enough. And what happens is then that prolongs things, takes you longer to get in for appointments, that type of stuff. And it's even worse if they drop in numbers in rural areas, making it even more difficult. So this piece of legislation, again, the VA Careers Act, was introduced in the Senate on January 23rd, 2023. The VA Careers Act would bolster VA resources for recruitment and retention of clinicians, particularly those in rural areas. It is Senate Bill 1010. Next one here is the Mental Health Professionals Workforce Shortage Loan Repayment Act. Wow, that's a mouthful. The Mental Health Professionals Workforce Shortage Loan Repayment Act. It was introduced in the Senate on February 16th, 2023. The Mental Health Professionals Workforce Shortage Loan Repayment Act would modify the loan repayment program for the substance use disorder treatment workforce to relieve workforce shortages. You could read more about it and if you agree with it and believe in that, then you should reach out to your senator. It is Senate Bill 462. 462, that's for the Mental Health Professionals Workforce Shortage Loan Repayment Act. Fun. All right, next one. The Servicemembers and Veterans Empowerment and Support Act, introduced in the Senate on March 29th, 2023. And says here, the Servicemembers and Veterans Empowerment and Support Act would expand the standard for military sexual trauma survivors applying for VA disability benefits. So revising that, I'm sure, in probably a good way. And that is Senate Bill 1028. Senate Bill 1028, 1028 is the Senate bill. And again, that is the Servicemembers and Veterans Empowerment and Support Act that was introduced in the Senate on March 29th, 2023. Next one is the Wounded Warrior Access Act. This was introduced in the House on February 28th, 2023. It passed the House in March 7th, or on March 7th, 2023. The Wounded Warrior Access Act would allow veterans to electronically request and receive their C files easily and securely. How about that? HR 1226. HR 1226. It's already passed the House. So we'll see what next steps are. But again, bringing it to your awareness here, HR 1226. And there's been a lot of information going around, a lot of requests on, how do you get your C file? What is a C file? What does it contain? What can I use from it? That type of stuff. One of the things that you can look at in your C file, which I believe is one of the most important things, is knowing what conditions you have that the VA views as static, meaning that they're not likely to get better, which means that they can be used to calculate your permanent and total disability. So if you have 10 conditions, and out of those 10 conditions, you have, let's say, 8 of them that are viewed as static, and those 8 alone take you to 100% rating using VA funny math, take you to 100% rating, then you should be permanent and total if they are all considered static, that take you to 100%. The other 2 that are over the 100%, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be static in order for you to be 100%. As long as you can reach the 100% with your static conditions, you should be permanent and total. So that's one of the good things you can look at in C files. So again, that's HR 1226. I may do another video, just a fast one, on HR 1226 to bring it to people's awareness. Next one, the Elizabeth Dole Home Care Act. This was both introduced in the House and the Senate, January 26th in the House and January 30th in the Senate. The Elizabeth Dole Home Care Act would codify programs like veteran-directed care and purchased skilled home care and expand their availability around the country. This is Senate Bill 141 and House of Representatives Bill 542. With that, we'll go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.